during this program, we look at what is crucial accountability. And that really is around people stepping up, having the dialogue, taking responsibility, taking action. So we define expectations, we communicate the values of the group, the values of the organization. Don't forget, this is a leadership program, so knowing what the values are, and I think most important, to set the standards, to actually have those conversations around what do those values mean in practice? What do those values look like down at that granular level so we all know how to behave? Okay. Setting those standards, what's important in this organization? How do we come across to other people? Because if you are a leader, you've got a responsibility to have a vision for your team, for your organization, if you're a CEO, and you've also got to be aware of the impression that outside people have of your team, of your organization, and do they trust you? Are you a team? Are you a company that other people want to do business with? You know, because a lot of these programs, a lot of these ideas are all interlinked. So we've got to know what is the brand, what is the flavor, what is the energy we want to set as a leader of a team, of a leader of organization. Now, running this program, it can be at any level. It can be somebody who is fairly junior as a leader, but they're responsible for the energy. And as a leader of a team, you are the weather system. You create the energy in the team. But if you're with somebody who is negative, you create that energy in the team. If likewise, if you are work with somebody who's really positive, who's engaged, who's interested in you, who's interested in and is proud of the team, that's what you want, isn't it? You want to be working with a team that you're proud of. You want to come into work and go, wow, I'm in this team and I really value being part of this team and they really value me. And as a leader, that's the energy that you create and set. You can't, if you don't have that as a leader, you're not proud of your team and you're not proud of how things happen, then there's generally across the board a bit of I don't really care. And none of us want to be part of something that takes the view of whatever. So as leaders, defining expectations, communicating those values, setting the standards, and this is really important, creating the right climate for accountability conversations. So what does that mean? Creating a psychological safe space for people to be able to ask questions, to get things wrong, to challenge, to question. Now, this is a really interesting one in Singapore. I would say trying to run this program in Singapore 20 years ago, it's not going to happen. All right? Because the boss is always right. Yeah. Yes, boss, no boss, whatever the boss says. Okay. My sense within Singapore is that attitudes and expectations of a work environment are changing. So how do we as leaders create that environment to encourage and nurture expression so that people feel comfortable to stand up to be heard? I remember working with an engineering company in Singapore. They were owned by a Swedish company and two Swedish bosses had come over. And I was talking to the team and I said, you know, what do you see your key strengths? And one lady was very brave. She said, Julia, she said, we put up with a load of rubbish and we don't say anything ever. And for her, that was a source of great pride that they struggled on stoically and didn't make a fuss. The Swedish bosses were in the room and they're like, one, why would you put up with a load of rubbish? And two, what is the rubbish? Because we need to do something about it and make it better. So there's a bit of a cultural thing going on there, but I think having this, creating that climate so that people feel as if they can make mistakes, because if you hide mistakes, they're like mushrooms, they grow in the dark, so that we can have open, honest, frank conversations for everybody's benefits moving forwards. In this program, we look at understanding conflict resolution. How do we approach conflict? How do we approach conflict when people put their head down and pretend it's not happening? Okay, so how do we have those open, honest conversations around what's going wrong and how do we make it right? and in this increasing motivation and commitment, which is huge for any leader. You want your team to be motivated and committed. So this is a really valuable piece for any organization, for anybody who is running a team, to have those dialogues around, actually, what does it mean to be human in our team, and how do we do it better? Okay, and do it as a team effort, not as a directive, because then people are engaged mentally, they're engaged emotionally, and they're willing to actually put far more in than when we operate in a disengaged fashion.